The only thing more neglected than the plants outside my house that I didn't water for a year is Castlevania. Just Google Castlevania and what's the first thing that comes up? No game, just the TV show. Oh, Konami. You know the deal. There's two types of Castlevania games. You got your classic Vania style games, which look like this. They're 2D action platformers that were laughably difficult for no other reason than Konami being unable to sell you a game that takes you less than 2 hours to beat. Then you got your Metroidvania style games, which they also kind of look like this, but they're way easier because they're also RPGs. If you find the games too hard, you can just grind a few levels to boost your health and stats, and you can get better armor and weapons too. I love Castlevania so much. The classic monsters, Dracula, the insane castles, the Belmonts, that Transylvanian flavor, it's just too cool. Both styles are fun to me, but I can be really bad at the classic style games. It's honestly a little bit embarrassing. Seriously, ask me to play Castlevania 3 and you'll think I never played a video game in my life. Alright, we're bringing back that 2007 YouTube energy, aiming the camera at the TV. Let's see how far I can get without dying. Castlevania 3, by the way. So oddly enough, this is one of those games that they made harder in the United States, I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure of that. Don't know why. I don't know why every developer had a different idea of what the difficulty should be in different countries. Oh, fuck! Alright. And there you have it. Couldn't even beat one level. Even though I do prefer the Metroidvania games, and I think they're some of the best games in the entire genre, I mean, look at this. We got 7 Fire Metroidvanias in less than 10 years. That's like one of the best runs in any video game series ever. But despite that, I still appreciate the classic games a lot. I like how every button click is a commitment, jumping feels heavy, attacking feels slow and deliberate. And a couple of years before Konami decided to take the series in a dramatically different style with Symphony of the Night, they made the best classic style game possible, and also like one of the coolest video games ever made. In my humble opinion, Rondo of Blood is like top 5 drippiest pixelated games ever. A huge part of that is Richter Belmont, my favorite of the family. If you look up Castlevania official art, a lot of the Belmonts have androgynous features and long flowing hair, which is a style that I definitely love. And some of the other Belmonts are just defined by their muscles, like Simon. They all really like decorative, ornate clothing too, like these long coats or this kinky shit. But Richter is a bit more of a simple man, short haircut and clothes that rock a traditional martial artist aesthetic. The blue pops out nicely on the screen. What is that, like royal blue? Cobalt? Either way, I love it. I love the way it looks on his sprite. I feel like the development team went all out trying to impress the player within the first couple of minutes of the game. These first few levels are just so flashy. We open up with a little baby boss battle against death on a horse-drawn carriage. We walk through this flaming village. We run away from this giant bull thing. And this is as far as I can get in the game. Is what I would say if this game didn't have what is essentially a built-in easy mode. So before I get into that, one thing you should probably know about me is I really like it when characters are small, cute, and unassuming but incredibly dangerous. A good example would be Kid Goku or like Ash's Pikachu. If you lived in their respective universes and you saw them, you probably wouldn't think much about them, except they would both kick your ass. This cute little yellow mouse and this little boy would both kick your ass. There's just something about that juxtaposition between a cute character design and also that character can just like beat up anybody. I love that so much. Rondo of Blood scratches this very specific itch for me. A knowledgeable player, or I guess if you read the manual or something, you'll know that there are 4 kidnapped maidens that Richter can save throughout the game. And luckily for me, the first of these girls is like 10 minutes into the game. If you get this key and open this door, which is very hard to miss, you'll find a 12-year-old distant relative of the Belmont family, her name being, I'll let her introduce herself.
I am Richter Belmont, vampire hunter. And you are?
My name's Maria Renard. I heard all about you from the net. I came here to beat some bad men, but I got caught. My family are vampire hunters too, so I guess that means we should be friends now.
Sure, friends. But Maria, you're too young for this. You just let the big hunter here take care of that bad man, okay?
Oh, you don't know anything. I can handle this just fine.
Yeah, this game has cutscenes too. I love 2D pixelated cutscenes, man. It all started with Ninja Gaiden for me. But unlike Ninja Gaiden, the story here actually makes sense because it's so simple. Just kill Dracula. These cutscenes look like they were made in MS Paint, which I'm totally down for. This style is just a time and place thing. I know that there are certain indie games that try to emulate stuff like this, but I don't know, the genuine stuff just hits different. And if you haven't noticed, this game has an anime art style to it, which is awesome. As far as I know, this is the first Castlevania to have such a look to it. I found this dope art of Maria and Richter just jamming out, and I think it's my new favorite piece of Castlevania art ever. Well, actually there's a lot of amazing Castlevania art. So Richter, of course, controls like your standard Belmont, slow jump with the standard heavy arc to it, classic whip attack, but Maria's got a lot. She's got these doves as her weapon, which is already stupidly cool to me, the dove being a symbol of peace, but nah, fuck it, we're using them to kill monsters here. The doves are really useful too because you can actually get 2 hits in really fast, which makes bosses go down super quick. She's also got a double jump and a slide, which are very useful in a game like this. You can actually use the slide to skip one major portion of a later level in the game. Her power-ups are nice too, like this little turtle that shields you against every attack in the game, or this dragon you can summon. I like these 2 little red birds too because oftentimes bosses will be hovering above you and their attack angle helps a lot. I also think it fits her adorable aesthetic to have these animal companions. So yeah, most early Castlevania games are defined by their giant macho men protagonists, but for me, Rondo of Blood is Maria's game. The contrast of this silly girl in a pink dress summoning cute animals to destroy creepy classic monsters is something I'll never get tired of. If you're like me and you're terrible at classic style Castlevania games, this one is for you. Just get Maria early on and keep the turtle shell, you'll be fine. And I mean, are you seeing this pixel art? These levels are awesome, like the chapel with these giant stained glass windows, and the way we go from these docks to this ghost ship. I especially love the color of the sky in the background and the way the moon is just hanging above you in these later levels. You know, when I was younger, if you were a boy and you said blue was your favorite color, that was like too basic to say, but I don't know. I think blue is my favorite color now. It's calm, but also a little sad. Death returns from the beginning of the game for the ghost ship boss battle, and look at this little detail. When you tire him out and he's about to enter his second phase, he spits, like he's taunting you, or maybe he's a little tired. I just love shit like this. Or this animation of the Wolfman howling and jumping towards the front of the screen to fight you. Rondo of Blood just feels very animated. It's like the closest thing we have to a 90s Castlevania OVA you'd find randomly on YouTube back in the day. It also helps that the music is, as was the standard for the series, mostly comprised of bangers. It was also elevated by the sound chip in the PC engine, aka TurboGrafx 16. Here's a few quick samples for you. Okay, last little detail. I just love how Richter and Maria have different game over screens, very fitting of their personalities. We're gonna see something like that again at the end of the game. As we work our way through the clock tower, like always, we finally get to the staircase. I love how all the old games had that last staircase that you climb and you think back on all of the hard bosses and levels you've been through, all for this very moment, to fuck up Dracula. This is probably my favorite version of Dracula in the whole series too, because of how fucking enormous his collar is for no reason. Seriously, look at that collar, it's ridiculous. We beat up Dracula and we have one final conversation with him.
Once again, the blood of Belmont has defeated me. Perhaps this, too, is part of my fate.
It's your fault for being so mean to everyone. Ah! It's crumbling! Everyone, run for it! Quickly!
I like how you see all of Maria's animal friends escaping the crumbling castle with her, and she gets her own little cute music during the credits too. Richter gets a bit more of a serious ending.
Is part of my fate.
Death to you! The world is not yours to exist in!
It is not by my own power that I am resurrected. It is the greed of humanity which calls me back. And thus, by might, I rule. Might becomes the one and only justice in this world.
Of all the self-serving claptrap! The same basic fate drives all people to seek, to come together, to move forward. That surely can't be an evil thing.
And yet, here I am. Do you not have any desires?
Well,
it is by your desires that you humans prosper, and it is your faith which has ruled you. Considering that, can you really call me evil?
but people cannot be ruled by power alone. The sacred, the honorable, the loved, those things can rule humanity. Something evil will eventually fall to ruin!
I see. Perhaps you're right. We shall meet again, Blood of Belmont.
During both endings, Dracula says the only reason he keeps getting revived is because of the evil in human beings' hearts. And that's it, that's Rondo of Blood. And like I said, the classic games are short as hell. I see a game like this, and honestly, it's one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen in my life. Call me a hater, but I'd rather this than this. With 3D graphics, I guess the obvious end goal for many developers is to chase photorealism. And with pixel art, that goal could never exist. It was its own separate form of art. Rondo of Blood is complete mastery of 2D pixel art, backed by tight gameplay and level design. It bums me out that when we get pixelated games today, it doesn't even come close, with rare exception. Yes, I know there are beautiful pixel art games made today, but I think Rondo and Blood was a time and place thing. Pixel art was mastered, only further proven by games later like Symphony of the Night. And the fact that Rondo of Blood wasn't intended for American audiences is most likely the reason why the anime art style was put into the game. Remember, this was still the era where anime box art was swapped for generic looking shit overseas. There's a lot of details and charm packed into this game, so it really feels like a work of passion, and it sucks that I couldn't find much information about the development. I did some reading through one old interview, and I found that apparently back in the day, they weren't allowed to design monsters that were humanoid because of censorship in America. But since Rondo of Blood was originally Japanese only, they went crazy with the monster designs. Don't worry buddy, we noticed. This game was made with love, and it's one that I hold close to my heart. It's my favorite classic style game, and its connection to Symphony of the Night only boosts that even more. I feel like a lot of newer Castlevania fans are afraid to try the classic games, or maybe they tried them for 5 minutes in one of the collections and were like, no, fuck this. But if you enjoy games like Mega Man or other action platformers, I highly recommend Rondo of Blood. Again, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not the most skilled pro gamer in the world. I needed Maria to get through this game the first time. So if you suck at games like this, if you suck at classic Vania games, try this game with Maria and the Turtle Shell. You can get this game and Symphony of the Night in a bundle on PlayStation. It's a freaking steal. Anyway, I'm gonna get some new plants. Thank you for watching this video. Seriously, look at this fucking collar. Have a great day.